Okay. Everybody, thank you all for coming on time. I'm glad to see that more than 3/4 of us are already here. I'm going to talk a bit about emails because as I was looking through some of the emails that you all wrote in class, there were some common areas for improvement. Okay, so I'm hoping that this will benefit you, and I will share the recording with you at the end so that you all can view it again and remind yourselves of some of the important points to include that you all did not include in your email the last time. Okay. So emails, right? This is the task I'm looking at. So I'm giving you a bit of time to look at the task. Okay. Before I go into talk about it. So I'll give you 2 minutes. Please take a look. I'll point out some features to you about this task. Okay. So you are John. Okay. And then you are writing an email to your cousin Larry, right? Asking him to join you and Sharon to participate in this event. What event is this? The Zoo Life in Art event. Okay. And in your email, you have to look for all this critical information. And notice there's always 6 points. Even though there's only 4 bullet points, there's always 6 essential points for information. When is 1 point. Where is another. How is a third. 2 reasons are 4th and 5th. And what Larry can do to prepare for the event is the 6th point. Can anybody remember and tell me why the 6th point is always underlined? Anyone? Or the 5th or 6th point is always underlined. Okay, Reagan, why is it underlined?
It needs you to come up with your own.
Very good. It needs you to come up with your own. The information cannot be found, or very often is not directly found, within the passage or the picture itself. Okay, so you do need to brainstorm, but it is a question that is easily answered with logic. So you need to think logically, and you should be able to come up with a viable option. Later on, we'll come up with a few alternatives to what Larry can do to prepare for the event. Okay, so you are thinking about how you can prepare for an art event, right? An art event. That's the context. Okay, so over here, you see that this is the poster that our 2 friends, right, John and Sharon, they see. This is a poster at the lift lobby of their block, okay? And this information, this first line on top here, is something that many of you always leave out, okay? You all may overlook this line, but this line is important because it gives you the context for why you are writing to your cousin, right? You saw a poster at the lift lobby of your block, and this line should appear in which paragraph of your writing? Anyone? Which paragraph should this line appear in? The contextual information in the top here. Which paragraph? First paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph. Multiple choice question. Which one? Okay, I don't want Reagan. Reagan just answered. I want somebody else. How about Stephanie? Stephanie, what do you think?
I think it is the first paragraph.
Okay, you're right. You don't sound very certain, but you're absolutely right. It is, right? All contextual information will appear in the first paragraph. Why? Because context must appear before content. Okay, can you all remember this point? Okay, context must always appear before content. Before you go into the content of your bullet points, you must set the context for why you are writing. So the why must come first. Then after that, you can talk about the what. Okay, so always start by giving the reason why you're writing, then go into what it is that you are going to write to your cousin about. And in this case, right, the context is you and your well, I don't know, is it your sister, Sharon, saw this poster at the lift lobby, and you want to share this poster with your cousin Larry, okay? And then in the poster, you'll find that there is the information of when, on the 2nd of August 2025, at 2 p.m., where, the Singapore Zoo. And please note, when, WHEN, doesn't just refer to the date. It also refers to the, yeah, that's right, to the time, right? So when you have the word when, you must think of the information you need to give to your cousin so that he can attend this event, not just the date, but also the time. Otherwise, he might come at a different time. Okay. Then how to register? The registration details are here. Okay. I can include all these details and put them in. Again, I need to give my cousin enough information for him to be able to register himself. Okay. So I need to talk about the date he must register before, how much he needs to pay to register, and then, what he needs to do to register, to visit the website zooart.com.sg to register and for further information. Okay, then the two reasons why Larry should participate, I need to look out for two reasons, and it's in the conversation between the two siblings, right? Okay, over here, right, we find that the last time they went, right, they had so much fun with their cousin. Why? Because Larry loves animals and he also loves drawing, okay? And he wants to support wildlife conservation. All the reasons are here of why Larry should participate. Okay. Now, many of you may ask me this question. The question is asking me for two reasons why Larry should participate. What happens if I write three? Anybody? What do y'all think? Renelle, what do you think? Okay. Anand, what do you think?
I think they will penalize.
What about the rest of you? What do you all think about what Anand said? Give me a thumbs up if you think they will penalize. Give me a thumbs down if you think they won't. Okay. Okay, okay. I see quite a number of thumbs up actually. Okay, so the good news is that they won't. They won't penalize you if you give more. But will they penalize you if you give less? Yes, absolutely right. Yeah. So if they ask you for two reasons, right, and you give three reasons, because for example, over here there are three reasons, right? He loves drawing animals. He loves going to the zoo, and he wants to support wildlife conservation. Let's say you give all three. No marks will be deducted. You will get the full 2 marks for the two reasons. But if you write only one out of the two reasons, then you will get 1 mark deducted because you are missing, or even more than that, because you're missing one of the reasons. Is that clear, everybody? Okay, so in this case, more is not going to harm your overall performance, okay? Because it's still answering the requirement of giving me two reasons. If you give me three, that's already answering the requirement of giving me two, okay? But don't give me less than two. And then finally, what can Larry do to prepare for the event? Think logically, right? Larry is going for this event where he's going to be drawing animals, and it's a competition, right? To see who draws the animals more beautifully and realistically. What are some of the things Larry can do to prepare for the event? Can we brainstorm and raise our hands to volunteer some things that logically we think Larry can do? Come quickly. Okay, I'm glad to see so many hands up. Let's hear a few. Kai-en, what do you think?
Practice drawing.
Practice, very good, right? Practice makes perfect, right? So practice, but I must be specific, right? Not just practice any drawing, right, Kai-en? What kind of drawing must I practice?
Painting.
Okay, I want to practice painting animals. Am I right? Okay,
Yeah.
because this competition is going to be about animals. It's not just going to be about random pictures. So I have to be very specific. Okay, so very good. That's one possibility, and that will fulfill my point, right? I need to practice painting or drawing animals because it's going to be tested or it's going to be on the competition agenda. Dylan, what about you? What do you think? Dylan, go ahead.
He can try like joining other competitions if there are.
Okay, you could practice by joining other competitions and getting used to being in a competitive environment. But I think the simpler answer so far is Kai-en's one. Okay, because joining another competition is a bit indirect, if you get what I mean, right? What I want to do is practice my drawing so that my skills can improve. Okay, not saying, Dylan, that you're entirely wrong, but it's just not as clear. Okay, so try to go straight to the point. In this case, skills are what I want to practice. That's one way. Wei Yu?
He could go for art classes.
Okay, very good. He wants to improve his skills by attending art classes to further hone his ability to draw animals better. Okay, so maybe attend art classes on how he can better draw animals. Again, be very specific. Come back to the point about animals. It cannot just be about general art classes. Okay, Wei Yu? It's not just about generally drawing scenery, right? I want to improve my ability to draw animals. Why? Because this competition is asking me to draw animals, and it is my passion. Okay, anybody else? Okay, any one of those points that our good friends have raised is perfectly workable, right? As long as it's logical. You might even want to say, I might want to visit the zoo in advance to decide on which animal I want to draw, right? Would that work? Right? Would that be preparing myself for this event? Yeah. So I will go to the zoo maybe 2 days before. Then I will look at all the animals and decide which animal I want to draw. And then I'll think about how I want to draw the animal. Well, that's preparing myself for the event as well, right? Anand, did you want to say something?
Yeah, like we can search in Google to see like artists painting animals.
All right, you can search online for examples, okay? Good examples of animals that are drawn to learn the technique or to improve your technique or to improve your skills in drawing the animals. So it's either going to be about improving your skills or it's going to be about preparing yourself by deciding, which animal you want to draw. These are the two main avenues that Larry can pursue to prepare himself for the event. Everybody good so far? Everybody clear? So the underlying text is something you all need to think about before you start to write, right? So that you can connect it to the rest of the points that you're bringing in. Okay, so important, the planning phase, looking at the text, highlighting all the points is imperative, right? Did you hear what I just said? Okay, it's imperative, it's not optional, it's imperative. I want to see at the end of a good situational writing exercise, highlights and markings on the text about where you found point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then underneath the underlying point, jot down the point that you come up with logically, right? So in this case, it could be, I want to visit the zoo beforehand to decide on which animal I want to draw. I will write that there before I start writing my actual email. All good so far, everybody? Okay, can I move on? The rest will be very quick, okay? And I will bring us to a quick close after that by showing you what an ideal situation writing is as we build it step by step. So before I continue, what is the first thing that I need to write in the email? Anyone? What's the first element? Martin?
The salutation.
Nope. Even before that. Before the salutation. Isaac?
Purpose statement.
Nope, that's even after the salutation already. Before the purpose statement, before the salutation, above the salutation, what must appear first? I know it's not a compulsory thing, but I like it. And I've taught you to do it, right? Arthur, what is it?
The name.
Nope, that's salutation. Meng Xuan?
The date.
Yes, the date. Okay, very good. And can you all tell me what format you should write the date in? Anyone? Kayla? No? Not sure? Okay, Reagan?
Along the left margin.
Okay, but what format I should use for my date? Yes, Kayan.
For day, month, year.
Okay, day, month, year, right? And then the month I must spell out in full, right? Day, month, year, and then the month I must spell out in full, okay? But the date is not, like I said, compulsory, right? It's just a good to have. If you don't write your date, will you get penalized for it? No, you will not, okay? But I just find that it's easier, especially if I'm referring that to that particular day, then in my email, I can use the word today, right? Because I wrote today's date on top. You get what I mean? So then I can use the adverb of time today instead of writing the date, right? Because I've already written earlier. But okay, never mind. Let's move on. Okay, good. Thank you for remembering. Okay, so in the task, we understand that we are John. We are John, so we have to be John. We can't be ourselves. Then we are supposed to invite, together with our sister Sharon, Larry, to go for this Zoo in Life art competition, right? So I'm John, and my audience is Larry. Okay, Larry is my cousin. So is it going to be formal or informal, everybody? Everybody chorus, informal. Yeah, correct. Okay, so it's informal. Okay, and then the essential details are all listed here. Okay, where and when is your event timing and location, right? How to register is your registration process. 2 reasons why your cousin Larry should join in is your compelling reasons. And finally, how your cousin Larry should prepare is your preparation suggestions. So far, so good. So always consider these 3 main tranches. Your role, right? Which is your audience, your context, which is what you're writing, and then your information. Okay. So very simple. So key features, right? Always start with dear Larry. Okay. You could do hi Larry as well, but for sake of uniformity, let's all use dear. Is that okay? So capitalize the D for dear and then capitalize the first name of the audience that you're writing to. In this case, Larry. Be careful not to confuse John and Larry. Okay? Yeah. So personal connection, use dear Larry. Friendly tone, right? Friendly tone means you are allowed to use exclamation marks to show excitement. Okay? But do you overuse them? No, right? Be very careful. Don't overuse, don't abuse exclamation marks. Okay? Only use them for when you want to express genuine excitement and engagement of your writer. Okay? Then you want to organize your points. Usually, I advise my students to follow the bullet point. Okay? There's no need to rearrange. Just follow the order of the bullet point, and you should be quite safe. And then you finally end off with your cousin or love or best regards. In informal email, it's very relaxed. Okay? But of course, you can also use yours sincerely, right? That's the universal one that you all can use. Okay? Right? So the opening context, okay? Dear Larry, how are you? Can anyone tell me what is how are you? What's the term? What is the label that I always give to how are you? Yeah. Kayla?
Polite statement.
Thank you, Kayla. Polite statement, right? So the polite statement always starts the email after the salutation. Are we all good? Okay, so we always start with the date. Then we have the salutation, which tells me the audience. And below that is always the polite statement. Okay, it follows this formula. It doesn't matter whether you're writing to your mother or to your father or to your cousin, to your brother. As long as it's informal, it will always begin with a very clear polite statement. Okay, then after polite statement, we have Sharon and I just saw an exciting poster at our blog and immediately thought of you. Right? What is that? Is that the purpose statement, boys and girls? No. Okay, not yet. Not yet. Okay. What is this? We saw an exciting poster at our blog and immediately thought of you. Anyone? Yes, Renelle.
Introduction.
It is an introduction, but what kind of information is this? Remember, I said before we start with content, we must first have, Isaac?
Context.
Yes, thank you. It's context, isn't it? Right? It's giving me the background information, like Isaac said, the context of what is happening before I tell you why I'm writing to you. Okay? So contextual information is always immediately following polite statement. Okay? So polite statement, contextual statement, then purpose statement, right? So the purpose statement, okay, I'm sorry. I think I might have missed something out here. So I missed out the purpose statement. Okay, this is the purpose statement, right? That you can join us.
Is there any thesis foundation Chinese teacher around?
This event. Okay, and again, why is it that you hope that your cousin can join you for this event? That's where the other contextual information. Remember, in the dialogue, the two siblings were talking, and they were talking about how they had so much fun, and how they remembered that their cousin Larry loved drawing animals and loved visiting the zoo, right? So that's where we give you the reason for the purpose. So why am I asking you to join this event with us? Because I know that we had a lot of fun together. You love art and you love animals, right? So that's all from the contextual information, and that's part of the purpose statement as well. Everybody following so far? Notice that I'm using all the information that's given to me. I've not let a single shred of information go to waste. It's kind of like oral. Can you remember oral? When we do the picture conversation, what does Mr. Bang say? Mr. Bang always tells you to use up every element of the picture, right? Use up everything in the picture. Otherwise, it's wasted. So same thing, when we look at the picture here for situational writing, we want to apply the same principle. We want to use up all the information that's given to us in the first paragraph. It's all going to be in the first paragraph, right? So that's the perfect opening. It's going to, again, say salutation, polite statement, contextual information, purpose statement. And then the more contextual information to support the purpose statement of why I want my cousin to come with us for this event. All right. So far, everybody okay? Right? 10 minutes and I'm landing this plane. Right? If no questions, can I move on to the next paragraph? This paragraph is the biggest and the fattest paragraph, right? It's the one that has all the points there, right? All 6 points are going to be crammed up in this next paragraph, okay? So it's going to be the biggest, okay? Right? So like I mentioned, okay, this is where we fit in all the information. Okay, so we're going to put in the event details, we're going to put in the registration, we're going to put in the compelling reasons, we're going to put in the preparation suggestions. It's all going to fit into paragraph 2. Okay, so paragraph 2, like I said, when you talk about event details of when, don't just put the date, also put the time. Because you are writing to someone to give them the information to attend an event, right? You must give both date and time. Otherwise, they won't know what time to appear. Okay, then location, right? Singapore Zoo, right? Very straightforward. It's in the picture. We just extracted it. Okay, so the zoo life in art competition, which I want my cousin to join in with me, will be held at the Singapore Zoo on 2nd August, right, at 2 p.m. Right? Okay, so that's basically the first part of my second paragraph, and then I move on. Okay, then registration, right? I need to give my cousin the means to register, right? And I'm not going to register for him. I'm going to ask him to do it by himself, right? So I need to give him the website. Okay, you need to register online at www.zooart.com.sg before 25th July. Can anyone tell me why it is important to include 25th July? Why not just say register at this website and then, leave it at that? Okay. All right, Stephanie, why?
Because if he missed the 25th July, if he register after that, he is not able to submit.
Yeah, correct, right? So registration only applies up to 25th July. After that, it's not going to be accepted or admissible. Okay, very good. And again, why should there be the inclusion of the $8? And then the canvas, free zoo entry, small donation to wildlife conservation. What am I doing here by including this detail of only $8? Anyone? Why am I saying only $8 and then including the fact that it includes a canvas, free zoo entry, small donation? What am I trying to do here to my cousin? There's something I'm trying to do, right? Yeah. Anand, what am I trying to do?
Like say that like if you pay $8, like it will include you the canvas and the free zoo entry.
Yes, I know what that says, but again, my question is not what it says, but what effect does it have on your cousin when you say it's only $8 and it includes a canvas, a free zoo entry, small donation, etc., etc. Arthur?
Yeah, giving him reasons for him to do this.
Not really reasons, right? You're giving it information, right? Yeah, Mengshen?
Trying to persuade your cousin to go.
Okay, persuade is a good word. And I agree with you. There is persuasion going on here, right? I'm trying to persuade. But how am I persuading my cousin? What am I using to persuade him? Persuasion is good. Okay, can someone continue to elaborate on that point? Janelle, go. How am I persuading him?
Can get his attention.
Okay, how? Again, how am I getting his attention? Kaylan?
Like, you're telling him all the good reasons to join.
No, the key here is, okay, Jaden, who? Go ahead.
Making it sound cheap.
Yes, right. Very good. Can you see that the value here is $8? You get all these things right. Okay, good. Thank you, Jaden. You hit the nail on the head. So Mengshen is correct. I'm trying to persuade my cousin. But how am I persuading him? By telling him how cheap it is, right? I show him $8, only 8. So you see the word only? I use the word only to emphasize how much value I'm getting out of this $8, right? Only $8, no? Then I get 3 things, right? Free zoo entry, canvas to draw on, and small donation to wildlife conservation, which, my cousin is very strongly feeling about, right? He wants to conserve animals, right? He wants to keep wildlife, living, right? So he wants this. So I'm convincing him, persuading him through the emphasis on how cheap this fee for registration is. $8, you get all these things. Got it, everybody? Right? So the word only is very powerful, right? So I want y'all to try to be conscious of that. I'm writing an email to persuade my cousin to join in. So I want to make sure every point that I write, right, is a point that convinces him. Okay? So earlier on, right, I talk about when and where, that those points are not very strong. to convince him. But this point about is $8, wow, very cheap, only $8, then I can get this. This point is a strong, persuasive, convincing point. Everybody clear so far? Okay, so when you're writing, be conscious of your purpose. I'm writing to my cousin. Why? I don't just want to tell him about this. I want to persuade him to join in. Okay, then next one, right? Two other reasons. This is where you also continue to persuade him, right? You want to persuade him to join in. How do you persuade him to join in? Well, you persuade him to join in by talking about how, right, he enjoys drawing animals, right? It's a perfect chance for him to showcase his talents, okay? And because when he joins, he's also going to be supporting a cause that he finds very worthy, right? In this case, he has this passion for wildlife conservation, which is in the conversation that was in the picture. Okay, so again, 2 points, you should, right? So you are using a persuasive tone, right? You use the modal verb should, right? You should, should is a strong, suggestive tone that you want to adopt when you're telling someone, hey, you should do this, You're not forcing them, but you're strongly suggesting that they do so, okay? So you should join because you really enjoy drawing animals, right? This is a perfect chance to show your talent. And then also, right, I'm using a connector also. You can use firstly and secondly, right? Like same as oral, right? Because you're trying to convince. You can say you should join firstly because you enjoy drawing animals, right? It's a perfect chance to showcase your talent. And secondly, you'll be supporting wildlife conservation. You can do that too. Okay, so a lot of things that you learn in oral, you can apply in writing, especially in this case when we are talking about persuading your cousin. Okay, all good so far, everybody? Any questions? No, right? Quite straightforward, right? Okay, coming to a quick close. I promised 12:30, right? I should be able to deliver it. Okay, so finally, we talked about all these things, right? I put them down as some suggestions. You want to practice your sketching. You want to gather materials, right? That was one thing we didn't talk about. You want to put all your materials together so that it is easier for you to bring it on that day, to prepare yourself for the event. Or you can go to the zoo to observe the animals and get which ideas about which animal you want to draw. Okay, so the one I've chosen is you could start by sketching some animals beforehand or even visit the zoo to get fresh ideas. Again, I'm giving 2, no? Will I be penalized for giving 2 instead of 1? No. Okay, I can even give 3, right? And it's perfectly fine, okay? So more is fine, but just be careful when you write more, you don't make mistakes, okay? If one idea is good and the other idea is bad, then you will cancel each other out, no? Okay, so make sure that your ideas are good. They are relevant to the question. Otherwise, you might end up doing more harm than good, okay? So if you want to include more than one idea, make sure both ideas are going in the same direction. They don't contradict each other. Okay, everybody so far? Okay, and finally, right? That's the end, right? This is the last paragraph, right? We've given all the details. Now we're going to repeat the purpose statement. Okay, why is it important to repeat? Because we want to remind our cousin to respond to us, right? This is an email. So what do you do with emails? Do you just read and then throw away? No, right? You read and reply, don't you? Right? You read and reply. So you want your cousin to know that you really want him to join in. I really hope that you can join us. It's a strong, persuasive tone that shows your excitement and desire for your cousin to join in. Agree, everybody? So far, so good. So you can actually use these stems, right? Whenever you are writing an informal email to your cousin or to your friend or whatever, and you really want to persuade them, I really hope that you can. Then you just fill in the blank, whatever purpose, right? I really hope that you can join us for our meeting, join us for our discussion, help us with this project, whatever. I really hope that you can, okay? And then finally, the last line is just additional information to convince him. So remember, I'm trying to convince him, right? So throw in your sister, Sharon, right? Sharon and I are really looking forward to participating in this event with you before you sign off with yours sincerely or cheers or love or best regards, John. Okay? So this is the final version. I'll let you look at it. And again, right? Can you see the balance between being very warm and friendly and also getting your cousin to do something, right? You're trying to convince him to do something. So there's practical side. You want him to do something, join this event with you. There's also a very friendly side, which is, you want him to feel how much you and your sister Sharon want him to join this activity, the warmth of it. Okay, Ken? Just take a look, read through, see how every point comes together. Look at the structure, 3 paragraphs. Look at the way that it ends. Okay. Notice that the top and the bottom are very thin, right? The middle is very fat. Okay. That's the kind of structure you want to see, right? So they are like two little pieces of bread holding a very big fat patty in between, like a little hamburger. Okay. So that's kind of like the structure. And it's lunchtime, so I know some of you are hungry. Okay. So think of a hamburger. As you're eating the hamburger, remember the structure. Okay. Remember that on top is your purpose statement, your polite statement, purpose statement. At the bottom is your polite statement, purpose statement also. Okay. I really hope you can join us. It's polite. You want him to know how much you want them to join you. Then also your purpose statement, right? Participating in the event with your cousin again. Okay. And I took 1 minute extra. Thank you very much for being so attentive. That's all for today. If you have no questions, please continue on and finish the practice paper. Okay, booklet A and B if you haven't done so yet. Then bring it tomorrow. Tomorrow, no. Bring it on Monday when you come back. Sorry. Okay, I'm going back to listen to my music playlist now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
I'm Mr. Pang.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. Pang.
Bye-bye. I'll send the video to you later, okay? Bye-bye.